Who would have thought we'd be standing here tonight? We're winning. We made brick without straw. We're winning.
It was a meaningful, symbolic win, but nonetheless a disappointment as Jackson fell short of what he wanted most, a real victory in the New York primary. Of the 255 delegates up for grabs in what was the most significant contest since the Super Tuesday primaries, Jackson won only 88. And as the headlines boldly documented, Governor Michael Dukakis carried the day, making him the odds-on favorite to win the nomination. Not so, argue Jackson supporters.
When we leave New York and go to Pennsylvania, it's Jackson and Dukakis. And so clearly, when you start to see where we came from, you have to say that we be winning.
New York, New York. It's unlike any place else in the world. But then, so too are its politics. While this city may be the world's largest and the cultural and financial capital of the free world, its politics have proved to be the most ruthless and the most racial of this primary season. As these headlines suggest, and others vehemently allege, the New York primary became a bitter Byzantine political and racial battleground. Mayor Ed Koch boldly led what some believe was an all-out Stop Jackson movement. Reverend Calvin Butt says the mayor's venom divided the city, pitting blacks against Jews.
Because New York generally has this characteristic of being the liberal and progressive city, when in fact the city and the state, as has been recently shown in Howard Beach, Tawana Brawley, Bath Avenue, is one of the most racist places in the entire country.
And the tension between the black community and the Jewish community is real, and my perception is it is because the Jewish bureaucracy feels threatened by the political maturity that is symbolized by Jesse Jackson's incredible run for the presidency.
If the weather had been hot, we might have seen riots on the streets here in New York, and we could have laid it at the feet of one person, our mayor, unfortunate.
Jackson's dramatic and unprecedented run for the White House has brought unbridled joy to the hearts of his rainbow of supporters, particularly older blacks who doubted they would ever live to see such a campaign. But his political success has also put his life in jeopardy.
We have received more death threats in this campaign than all of the others combined, because the climate has been one that is so divisive and so violent.
In an exclusive interview with BET News, Jackson talked about why he is putting his life on the line for the presidency.
Well, there is danger in the air, but then there's hope in the air, and I'm driven by the hope. I'm not stymied by the fear.
Running for the presidency, then, doesn't bother you risking your safety for that?
Well, the rewards are high. The risk is great. But if we make people better, and it is making people better, it's worth it.
New Yorkers say the Big Apple turned rotten politically speaking during the city's divisive primary, and that Jackson's wins in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn symbolize a new force for change. That is, a coalition of blacks and Hispanics who hope to dim the lights on Koch's re-election effort in '89.
Jesse, by bringing the African community together and also causing some kind of truce between the more activists in our community and the more established in our community, makes it possible now for a strong black candidate to run and win.
While New Yorkers now focus on local politics, Jackson still wants the White House.
The fact that the country is getting used to the idea that Jesse Jackson could really win this nomination, and I intend to.
The Jackson campaign now moves on to the Pennsylvania primary, where Jackson is expected to win big in the city of Philadelphia, but polls show him losing statewide. And while Dukakis is now the acknowledged front-runner for the Democratic nomination, Democratic Party Chairman Paul Kirk says there aren't going to be any knockout punches in this race, which means there's still a strong likelihood of a brokered convention in Atlanta. I'm Maynard Eaton for BET News on Park Avenue in New York City.